and welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. So we'll start with our Real Housewives of OC recap. I've been writing extensive notes, which is kind of fun to do while you're watching because it's like I'm on an assignment. Well, this was kind of not fully part of the episode, but just a note, because I think it started with Emily talking about with her daughter at modeling, bringing her to modeling stuff. But it made me think of how Emily has recently been in the news about her weight loss journey.
Oh, I didn't even know.
She went on, I can't remember if it was Howard Stern or somebody's radio show. I don't think it was Howard Stern because that seems a little too high up for a housewife. But someone's radio show, and she was talking about how she did go on Ozempic. She did get some lipo, and then she was only on Ozempic for a month or something, and then she's just been working out and stuff. But people were kind of giving her crap for being on Ozempic.
Well, everybody's on it.
I know, and I'm just why are you targeting her? And she's one of the people that are being honest.
Right.
Yeah, I was on it.
Right, and if she's still doing all the other work as well, some people just probably need it for a little help.
Right, maybe a kickstart or whatever.
Right.
But, I mean, I think she looks great, and I think it's interesting how she said, yeah, I was watching myself on film, and I realized oh my gosh, I don't like the way that I'm looking, but it's so weird because I can't, even with us filming, it's not the same
right
as them. It's their whole life, and I feel it's so weird to see yourself through that.
Oh my gosh,
lens.
yeah, and then to have people make comments on your stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But she looks great, and I'm more interested in her background. She hasn't. And again, since we are just coming back into OC, maybe it was already discussed, but I want to know, how did she get to where she is now from Ohio?
Right.
You know, what is her story with her husband and everything? Anyway, nothing really exciting happened. They shopped for cowboy clothes.
I know. Yeah, it was kind of it's so hard to watch these shows when you can't just watch one right after the other other because it feels so boring.
I know.
If you're not getting to do binge watch them.
What do you think the whole Tamra Shannon thing? Obviously we know that it's resolved because they were just out on their little Three Amigas tour. But in this storyline with the show, what more does she want from Tamra, I guess?
I don't know. I think she's kind of I don't know. I kind of feel that way too. It's Tamra apologized. I do think it would be weird to not be talking to somebody for a couple years and then just be working with them again.
Right.
And then have to be oh, everything's fine, but
it's just
that's the way Tamra is though too. So I feel she's not gonna. It's just take it for what it is.
And how many apologies are we gonna get, or how many does she need? Because it's just I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for that. Well, I just don't know. Well, just make a decision because it's kind of a boring storyline. Okay. And I thought it was interesting how Gina was I'm dealing with my ex trying to get felonies dropped.
Yeah.
I was what the heck?
What is going on? I know. I feel kind of out of the loop or something. I'm what's going on?
I looked it up. And this is where I took screenshots. So this was from People, and it said there was a domestic incident that was discussed in season 14. So we're just behind the ball on this one. But she said, I was really scared. Or actually, it's this one first. I thought I was going to die. I still get chills thinking about how I begged you to stop, think about the kids. And you responded by saying your mom is going to die tonight. It echoes in my brain and sinks deep into my heart. I was really scared. I ran out of the house and I rang my neighbor's doorbell and I was banging on the door and he dragged me back in the house. A lot of neighbors heard. They called the cops. And when the cops came, they arrested him. It was all really scary. So it was a horrible domestic situation. But the thing is, it's that sounded horribly traumatic.
Right.
But now she's trying to get the felonies dropped because it's like, obviously with felonies on your record, like it's hard to do a lot of things and live like a normal life, or maybe the life that he had before with like work and stuff, and being able to have custody of the kids. But it's just like, I don't know, I'm a little more interested in that plot line rather than
that's like glazed over.
Yeah, rather than Gina just being upset about, you know, the cheating thing. Like, I'm more interested in that. And maybe she doesn't want to talk about it, but also
or can't, maybe.
Yeah, but I just thought that was kind of crazy.
It's a little dark.
I know, it really is. And I mean, I feel bad for her because that's terrible. But then looking up stuff, it seems like now, like, I don't know if her ex-husband is remarried or just dating somebody, but like all of them seem to have a good relationship.
Well, that's good.
I'm guessing there was some like family therapy involved in that, because that just seems horrific.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wow.
Yeah, moving on.
It's dark turn there.
I don't know everything about with Jen and Ryan and them saying he's a playboy. It's weird how Tamara's so like blasé about it. Like,
I know. It does seem like in the next episode she's gonna like touch on it more.
Yeah.
But it does seem really, I don't know, and it kind of seems like she doesn't, like Jen doesn't really care.
I know.
Either way, so like kind of drop it.
Right. And it's the thing that I think is weird about with Tamara involved with this is like, if this was any other person, or maybe like, I'd like to think that Tamara has like grown and changed a bit, but then there's also things that we've already seen this season that shows that maybe she hasn't. But like, if this happened, you know, 5 seasons ago or whatever, like Tamara would not be letting this go.
No.
Like, he's a cheater. We would hear it all the time. And about how stupid she is for being with him. So I think it's just kind of crazy how she's just like, yeah, I mean, he's a known playboy.
It's all right. But it does seem like she gets angry about it in the previews for the next episode. So that should be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Like, if Jen doesn't seem to care, then, like okay, it's kind of nobody else's business. But this is also Housewives. So.
I know. It just is like, calm down.
And then I think, like, I think, again, like, the COVID thing being an excuse.
I know. I'm like so confused about this timeline.
Me
like,
too.
I get like, okay, she tested positive for COVID, so she can't go on the girls' trip. Like, that's totally normal. But they keep like, I don't know, talking about COVID.
Right.
As if it's just happening.
I know. And like, it almost seems like, I don't know, like,
or maybe
a get out of jail free card of like, I don't really want to go on this.
I have no symptoms.
Yeah,
but
I can't go. Like, I don't know. I just think it's weird.
That was weird. And I felt like, I don't know, maybe they got like flack last season for not addressing COVID, and that's why they're doing it so much this season, or what?
Overcompensating.
I
don't know. Then they all go on the girls' trip. I thought it was weird that they couldn't all just stay in the massive villa.
I know. I thought that was like what they call the other suite. The bunkhouse.
Yeah.
I was like, and then of course nobody was like wanting to stay in it in this weird way, but I mean they did.
I guess. I mean, from a production standpoint, they needed it for like, you know, the 2 different conversations, 2 different little storylines. But it's like, you look at, they showed the aerial view of that villa.
Right.
Like,
it's
clearly
come on. Everybody could have fit. There's like, what, 5 of them there? Like,
I know.
Come on.
That was silly. I don't know. Nothing else really exciting happened until, well, Shannon dressed up in her little costume, which was kind of funny.
So was she just like kidding about like taking too long to get ready and then like came out in this, or was it like
was the whole thing, because even kind of the whole time since they got there she was kind of like depressed and like
it's like, I guess I'll take this room.
Yeah,
it's like, what's the problem?
And then all of a sudden she's dressed up as a little like saloon woman. Like
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny, but so random.
It was.
And you know what? I guess this is kind of true for a lot of like reality TV shows, but I think especially with this season, I'm noticing that like everything is based around them getting heavily intoxicated.
Yeah.
Like them on the boat, it was essentially just a booze cruise. Like then them at the saloon, they took like 3 shots in what seemed like 2 minutes. Like
they are letting loose, man.
I know, that just seems to kind of be the only way this show can get any
like drama kind of.
Yeah.
Or like excitement.
Right.
It almost makes it seem like they don't really want to like be there together.
Yeah,
they
like,
have to drink to get along.
We have to drink to be able to talk to each other.
It's like you guys do know each other,
right.
though.
Like you've all been on here for a while.
Yeah.
The big thing was Taylor and Heather fighting. It all was kind of just blown into this huge.
I know. Well, and then Tamara's sitting there instigating.
I know.
I was actually kind of like, okay. And she goes, no, like Taylor, remember we had her IMBD pulled up and you said, oh, she barely has anything.
She literally
I was like
pulled up the receipts. Remember at 2:53 at lunch yesterday? Like
no, like you said that, Taylor. You said that, and then Heather's like, what did she say?
It was so funny, like. Yeah, but Taylor, you did say to me.
And then she would just sit there and like turn her head and like with her cowboy hat on. I was like, girl.
I know, she was such a little pot stirrer.
She was. I'm like, she's the same.
And even when she was at lunch with Taylor, they're like, well, let's just pull it up and see. Like, it was her idea.
And then they were at the flashback of when they were all offered that one role for something back with, like, Alexis and Gretchen. And then Tamara's like, yeah, I was offered that, too.
Which I couldn't tell if she was,
being sarcastic or not.
Tell. But either way, it doesn't really matter.
And it's like that whole conversation was on camera anyway. So for her to, like, bring it up then and there, it was like Heather would eventually see it, I guess. So I guess you could bring it up, but it was just, and then Taylor was like, not Taylor, Heather was like instantly mad after that.
I know.
Oh, really?
I just don't, like, I can see why Heather is mad about this.
No, I would have been offended, especially because after Tamara brought it up, it's like that was actually what they were doing. Like they weren't being nice.
No, and then Taylor, it was honestly painful to have to watch her backpedal and be like, no, I thought 22 episodes is a lot. Like Taylor, no.
I know, like you can just say like, I don't know why Taylor wasn't just like, I was annoyed that you were acting better than me. And so, yeah, I did look it up to see how much you had.
But it's like Taylor, you don't have like this crazy acting career either, so I don't really understand. And I know that Heather does kind of act like holier than thou, which is annoying. Mm-hmm. But at the same time,
no, yeah, she definitely didn't have.
It was rude.
It was rude. No, I think it was rude, and I think she should have just been like, yeah, I was annoyed because I got you this part.
Right.
And, like...
Taylor should have just owned it. And
I know, I did look it up because I wanted to know when the last time you did something was and why they would want this demo reel or whatever from you.
And not to be, like, you know, I think Heather kind of used the as a mom
or, like, as a woman.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, she really did... stop her
she
career.
did stop. She took care of the kids this whole time, and that's why her acting career started. We don't know what would have happened if she had continued it. And
so what I was saying to you before we started recording, I just finished listening to the recent episode of Juicy Scoop, and Heather McDonald had some interesting things to say, and she was like really defending Heather Dubrow because she remembers like back in the day when before Heather was married that like Heather McDonald would be on casting things, and you know this was back when it was like we get a script and we read it and it's a whole big thing, and not as like, I don't want to say easy, but just with technology it's obviously different today. But anyway, and Heather Dubrow would like book things over Heather McDonald because they were very similar with just like kind of not in looks, but like height, weight, hair color, like whatever. And they would go with her a lot of times over Heather McDonald. So Heather McDonald was saying like, yeah, I remember being like, oh my God, who is this? And I can't remember what she called her. It was like her full name, Heather Jane. I can't even remember what it was. And whatever her like matron name was or maiden name was. But she's like, who is this girl? Like she keeps getting these roles. So like Heather McDonald was basically just saying like it was really hard out there. She did do a lot and it was a big deal with like what she was getting. And from what I've seen, and I haven't done like a deep dive into her acting career, but it seemed like she was kind of at the beginnings. And like had she not met Terry and not gotten married and chosen to have children and stop that, like you said, like the trajectory could have been different. Like you don't know. So Heather McDonald was basically just saying like it was rude of Taylor and Tamra.
No, I do think it was rude of them, and I was pretty annoyed at Tamra for even like bringing it up and acting like she wasn't also in on it.
Right, because it's just like none of the other ones have any real acting things. And I'm not saying like I have no idea how impressive Heather Dubrow is as an actress. Like I don't know at all, but like she did book stuff, so she must have been good enough. And like I don't see any of these other housewives that had stuff like that. You know? So I thought that whole fight was stupid, and I just think that like if Taylor can't recognize that she doesn't have the authority to like offer a role.
I know that part. Like I get why Heather was like questioning her on it, and I don't know why Taylor was so like offended. I don't know why Taylor didn't just be like, look, there's this part open. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to do Heather, you know? And then like actually got the ball rolling with that. And why Heather was like, yeah, okay, I know you're not offering me the role. Or if it's like if Heather would have went and like, here I am. And they're like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, right? What if she did just show up? Taylor should have just said, hey, Heather, this opening came up on this
Are you interested?
film. Yeah, can I give your information to? That's what she should have done.
Yes.
And then none of this would be happening.
No.
End of story.
Yeah.
And that was basically it.
Yeah,
it ended on the fight. And Heather is like legitimately mad.
I know, she's very offended.
Yeah.
Which I could see why she would be, especially when she sees like that footage. She's gonna be like,
oh, she's gonna be mad all over again. Yeah, that's gonna get brought up at the reunion for sure. You know, like a slight spiral off of it, but just when Heather is like mad, and you notice this with like Lala and stuff too, with the reunion, like the pointing.
Yeah.
I can't stand the pointing. Like you, like I just hate that.
Sit down.
It just seems like so, like, I don't even know how to describe it to me. Like, it's so like disrespectful.
I know, and I'm like trying to teach my kid not to point.
Yeah, like, and then you're watching like, like it's like, crazy. Like you look insane. And,
I know.
Like when Lala will do that when she's all heated, and I don't think I've ever been in a feud with anybody that I have felt the need to point at them.
Like, no, me either.
So I don't know. Maybe we just start having the right fights. Yeah, so that's pretty much it with Housewives. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone's listening to this pod for recaps on that, but so far it's been kind of boring.
Yeah. Per usual.
Yeah.
Expect.
What
do you think about? Well, they're starting to film season 11 of Vanderpump.
Yes.
We don't know if Raquel is fully what's going to go on with there, so that'll be interesting. But they're also doing this alleged spinoff with Jax, Brittany, and Kristen.
So it's going to be a full-on spinoff.
That's what it's sounding like. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't really understand what it fully is.
I have been listening to Kristen Doute's podcast, But, like, I have to just say, like, I have no interest in her being back affiliated with the show. I have no interest in what she brings. Like, I just don't think that I know that she's still friends with people, but, like, I kind of don't care about that. Like, I don't have any interest in watching her. I think Jax and Brittany can bring something that would be interesting.
I don't know how, like, a show with both Kristen and Jax and Brittany is, like, what that would mean. Because Kristen obviously doesn't have any children.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's going to focus around, like, mom and dad life. Because I think that was, like, the description or something where it was, like,
and what is Kristen the babysitter?
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand, like, what her role in it is going to be. And is that there going to be any crossover with the other cast members? Or is this just going to be, like, a special, like, keeping up with, seeing where they're at, or what?
But then did you see that video? And I don't even know where this happened, but Jax was, like on drunk. The mic. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to bring it, and I'm going to. Yeah. So that, when I heard that, it made me think that he was coming back on the Vanderpump.
Well, to me it sounded like a spinoff, but I think if they're gonna bring them back, I think they should just bring them back to Vanderpump at this point, and just kind of like they don't even have to really interact that much with the old cast, just like kind of a break.
Have it be there, yeah.
And we see what they're doing.
There's no way that if they had a spinoff, they wouldn't be talking about what's happening on the Vanderpump, like the main show. Like they're still what could Jax be bringing on a spinoff?
Yeah, it's like, are you going to bring drama? I know. I don't know. It sounds like a spinoff to me. I don't know if it is or not, or if they're I think they should just let them come back to regular Vanderpump. And I also, this is just how I feel. I think we've talked about it before. They really need to break the fourth wall and let the other friends like that Brad and Logan and anybody who wants to, even that Jamie, like I think they need to let them be on camera more if they want to, not as like main people, but let those people come in, because at this point we're not going to believe that they're all friends still.
Yeah, I think after this last season, the fourth wall just needs to go. It needs to go.
Yeah, and it's like even with Ariana and like the Lala and stuff, it's like they're friends, but even Ariana's like, we weren't close like that this whole time. Like, let's bring in those people and see how it affects all that.
Yeah.
And not like force Ariana and Lala to be like best friends and filming together all the time. Like, I think we need to do that for this, for it to work. I think
it would make a much more interesting show.
Yeah.
So I think that you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think we should do that. I mean, that's just my opinion.
But I also heard that Tom Sandoval isn't filming right now. Like, he's out of the country filming.
Oh, yeah, that weird,
like, military-based show.
That Jamie Lynn Spears did.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it's called.
Neither.
It doesn't matter. But
yeah, I just heard that too.
So he's not even filming right now, which is interesting.
I know. So what's that going to mean? And of course he's going to come back, but like in what context is he coming back? And I mean, he's going to have friends, because none of them are going to.
Who's going to film with them? Because I don't think it matters right now, because like you just said, nobody wants to film with them. So I imagine like what they're filming right now is a lot of the aftermath of Scandival and building.
Sorry.
With time?
No. I didn't say anything.
Oh. But I imagine that it's all about Scandival aftermath, and he isn't really wanted or needed. But yeah, like, is he gonna come back in some grand way? Like, I don't know.
I know, it'll be interesting. But I feel like, okay, so if Sandoval's not filming now, so we have Ariana, Lala, James. I mean, there's still like a good portion, but even the cast like slimmed down a lot last season. So we're gonna need.
I just think it's more interesting to bring in some of their actual friends rather than like these random people and trying to force it.
I know, because that was like a rumor around too, that they were gonna like bring in. They were looking for people from like Tom or something to like film them, and it's like that didn't really work that well last time, and I don't want to have like these fake force situations.
Well,
like, let's bring in the real friends.
Because they don't work at these restaurants anymore. I mean, obviously, there's still, like, Shorts and Sandy's and Tom Tom, whatever. But it's like, none of them are waitressing.
No.
None of them are bartending. So, like, they're not really friends with these random employees. I know.
And if they are, it's because they own the business.
Yeah. So, I think that just it doesn't seem real. Yeah. And it shows on the show.
I know. And so I guess we'll see what happens with Jax, Brittany, and Kristen. I don't know. We'll see what that ends up being.
I'll be kind of I'll be interested to see how that kind of unfolds. Because it just...
And you know how Jax can get a little premature with things.
Yeah, so I mean,
yelling and...
nothing might even be set, and he's already like, I'm coming back. Like,
I'm bringing it. And then Brittany's going to be like, now, Jax, we're not doing that type of show, y'all.
I was noticing that there have been a lot of nasty celebrity divorces.
Yeah.
And we just got word on a potential new one with Kyle and Mauricio. First of all, I would have been surprised hearing about this like a year ago.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised now. I think that it is true that they are separated.
I know. I think so too. But then I'll just read
read the statement.
What Kyle said. I don't know how I feel about this. In regards to the news that came out about us today, any claims regarding us divorcing are untrue. However, yes, we have had a rough year, the most challenging one of our marriage. But we both love and respect each other tremendously. There has been no wrongdoings on anyone's part. Although we are in the public eye, we ask to be able to work through our issues privately. While it may be entertaining to speculate, please do not create false stories to fit a further salacious narrative. Thank you for the love and support, Kyle and Mauricio.
And
it's allegedly not true.
But I think that they definitely are separated.
I think so too.
I mean, all signs kind of point to that with everything on their social media recently.
Right, like, and then she hasn't been wearing a ring, which, you know, she had some excuse at the gym or something. Like, I don't, there's been so much crime lately. I don't want to have my big diamond ring
get out of here. And what was that with, was it her trainer? Like, that they were alleging that she was having an affair.
Okay, so is this two different things? Because apparently I thought it was her trainer, too, that this woman she was having an affair with. But it's a country singer. Is this two?
Is she both? Or
yeah. Like, are these two different people?
I'd honestly
that part
don't
I was really
know.
confused about.
Because I saw that, too. They're like, it's a musician. And I'm like... Wait a second.
A musician? I thought she was a trainer.
Maybe she's both.
I know.
I don't know.
They were just working out together.
Yeah.
But I was really confused about that. I'm like, wait, a country singer.
So I don't. Well, once I saw that Kyle was on Ozempic, that she hasn't confirmed, but it's pretty clear. I thought there was definitely trouble in paradise because it's always a little suspicious when one partner suddenly hits the gym hard or diets. You're like, wait, what's going on? Like, it just always seems to be that, like, they're either trying to get back into shape for something or trying to win back the other partner. Like, so, yeah.
And then, I don't know if you saw the stuff about people bringing up that psychic from the dinner party from hell.
He will never emotionally fulfill you.
Well, here we are.
Here we are. And wasn't last year their, like, 25th anniversary or something? And I was reading, like, a flashback post from Mauricio, or interview that he did. And he was like, I just want to spend the rest of my life with her. And here's to 25 more and hopefully 50 more. And it's like, now, this is totally me just giving my opinion, but I just feel like if somebody out of the two of them were to be the catalyst of a separation or divorce, it would be Kyle.
You think so?
I just feel like Mauricio really did, like, love her so much.
I just wonder about, like, those past, like, cheating rumors.
With Mauricio?
I mean, that was obviously a whole drama thing. Yeah. Where people were bringing it up, but I don't know. It seems, I don't know. I'm just really surprised, though. That
I am too.
But it's weird the way this or like what the psychic's words were like emotionally fulfill you. And now she is allegedly seeing a woman.
Yeah.
It just seems like that was a weird wording.
Like, how convenient.
You're not emotionally fulfilled by a man.
Right. How does she know?
I know.
Maybe she wasn't
that far off, and Kyle got pretty mad when she said that.
Yeah, she did. That episode was wild.
It was. I could tell you when you're gonna die.
Smoking her cigarettes. That was just insane. But like everything with like the other housewives, like Kim Bierman and Croy, and then Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
And also that Jeremy Allen White from The Bear, which I don't even know who his wife is or what her name is.
Oh, I've seen some stuff about that.
Kind of nasty.
Yeah.
Like with his situation, like she said full custody, like she wants it. So she's trying to let him not have the kids, which I didn't dig deep into that, so I don't know. Everything with Kevin Costner with like the prenup and he wants his wife out. Like it is, and obviously everything with Croy and Kim has been insane.
Crazy.
But it's just like we went through this like quiet period of celebrity divorces, of the conscious uncoupling, and
we're all friends.
We still have so much love for each other, and now it just seems like
nope.
No,
I'm taking the kids, I'm taking the house.
Yeah, like just no holds barred. Like it's kind of wild.
It is kind of.
And maybe Tori and Dean.
Yeah. We don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's going on.
They're divorced.
Dean
no, they're not.
They were, but then
all of a sudden that was not true.
I don't really have much invested in them personally, but like I just feel like they've been in it for way longer than they really both even want to be.
And like the 5 kids, my mom used to watch their reality
really?
show, and then I remember just like kind of watching it, and then it was like after he had been unfaithful, and that was like a whole thing, and it was like, this is really uncomfortable to watch. Like I feel like cameras should not be.
I just feel like neither of them really seem that happy, and whenever they're in the public eye, it's just like
like we all love each other and the kids are happy.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem, or like they go home and they immediately like go to different ends of the house.
I know. I read one of her books a long time ago. I should read one again. Listen to one again.
Tori, I mean, she has kind of a crazy life. Like
she
with
does,
her
like her dad and everything.
And, yeah.
Her mom. She sure does.
Wild.
Speaking of, I saw Jennifer Lawrence was on Watch What Happens Live, and she addressed the rumor about her and Liam.
Yeah.
Do we believe her?
I don't know.
Well, like, even when Miley Cyrus came out with that video and everybody's like, look, she's wearing the gold dress that Jennifer wore. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like that's reaching. It seemed weird, but it just felt like they were reaching. But also, the timeline's a little weird. Like, we know they kissed or whatever, but it was like, when?
Yeah, and I mean, in regards to the Miley Cyrus video, when I first watched that, I did not even
catch that. No, it's like somebody was going to have to point that out.
Right, because I didn't even think about that at all. And I'm just kind of like, why are we harboring on her relationship with Liam so hard? Like, I just feel like there were, like, I mean, she dated, what was her name? Caitlyn, who dated, or who was married to Brody Jenner.
Caitlyn Carter.
Yeah, Caitlyn Carter. And she had a couple others thrown in there, but
Cody Simpson.
She and Caitlyn Carter were like hard and fast. Like they were like they were basically like life partners within like 2 weeks. Like it was crazy. So I just feel like I don't know why we keep just sticking on like, no, Liam. It's like her songs could be about somebody
else, right? Obviously that was a significant relationship for her and they were married, I guess. But it's like, It could be about other people.
It could be about like multiple people in one, like multiple experiences.
Like I can buy myself flowers just in general.
Right.
People are like, no, because he had that song played for her or something. And it's like, how do you guys even know that, man?
And then they're like, well, she released it on his birthday. And it's like,
I mean, that could be like a little like dig, but
also, like, do we really think that Miley Cyrus is holding hatred for him after all this time?
Right.
Like,
or like, okay, let's say the song could be about him, then she probably wrote it a long time ago too.
Right.
You know, it's like, I don't know, it felt like reaching over the gold dress, but
I don't know. I don't really know if I think that they had an actual affair
that like ended their marriage.
Yeah.
Well, even then they weren't even married then.
Yeah.
They were just together.
And yeah, and I feel like there were a lot of other factors within their relationship where they were a little bit on and off again. And like, I don't think that Jennifer Lawrence was the
catalyst. Why would she specifically call out Jennifer Lawrence during the Hunger Games wearing the gold dress?
Like, do I think maybe they had a little like flirtation? Sure. But I don't know. I also feel like, I don't know. I can kind of just imagine that Jennifer Lawrence would be the type of person that would just be like, yeah. You know, right? Like, yeah, we did.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, she called me out. Like, I don't know. I mean, at this point, it's just like so much time has passed. I guess I just don't understand, like, what's the point of, like, keeping that lie going or that secret if,
right,
you know, they're not even together anymore. Does it matter?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think it's true. But obviously they did kiss, but we just don't know when.
What the timeline was.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to really burned me up, made me mad. I saw this TikTok and it was just like on our For You page. I was just scrolling and this girl's like casually just like laying in bed on her side and she's like, so my neighbor is beating his girlfriend and I don't really know what to do about it. And I didn't even watch the whole thing because I heard that and I immediately was mad and like scrolled past. And I'm just like, and then I went back and I was like, wait, let me like read a little bit more because then I'm like, I want to talk about this on the pod. And she said like that she's heard it multiple times. Oh. And I'm just like, you call the police. Like, you don't make a TikTok about it. You call the freaking police. If you know this is happening, you call 911.
I know. I feel like we're in such a Black Mirror episode with stuff right now. I mean, everybody just pulls out their phone. I get like, okay, I don't know what to do. Then maybe you should call your friends.
Right.
Don't get on TikTok and get 100 million.
Or honestly, like, pick up the phone and call your parent and be like, hey, what should I do? Like,
I think my neighbor, you know, go outside, find another neighbor. Yeah. Like, should we do something about this?
Right.
Because she's probably a younger-ish girl and nervous about that. But it's like at the same time.
But, like, even if, like, why is your first reaction, I'm going to make a TikTok about this? Yeah. Me just casually laying in bed. Hey, guys, so my neighbor's beating his girlfriend as we speak. What do you think I should do? And then the comments were like, call 911.
Yeah, then you have to wait for responses.
Yeah.
I mean, the neighbor is probably not doing very well at this point. You're waiting for responses.
And then you're like, should I?
Weighing your options again.
How many likes did that one get? If I'll do whatever gets the most.
Yeah, like 10,000 likes, I'll call the police.
Yeah, like it's weird. Or then another one I saw was a mom was like, so this is just a PSA for other mothers out there, people who have like kids or really anybody. But I gave my young son a boiling hot cup of noodles and it spilled all over him and burned his skin.
Yeah, probably did do that.
No kidding. I mean, and I also don't know. So very horrible. I feel so bad for that kid, that young child. But why would you think, like, okay, I'm going to put boiling hot water in cup of noodles, because that's how we make cup of noodles, and then give it right to your kid? Honestly, even if it's a teenager, I'm still like, hey, that's hot. You need to be careful.
Right.
Like, but why did you choose to act as though, like, I need everyone to know about this. I'm going to sit in my car and make a TikTok about how my son now has horrible burns and I had to take him to the hospital.
I know. It would have been different. I'd be like, just a reminder, don't leave the pots where your kid can reach them. Like, that would have been different. Not I handed my kid boiling hot soup.
It's just like, it feels like a Black Mirror
I know.
episode, like
everybody gets. There was another one that I didn't really watch too much of it, but like her neighbor's house was on fire, and then she heard that it might have been like an attempted self-hurting situation, and she's just filming away, giving us updates and stuff. It's like, that person has a family that might not know about that yet.
Right.
And she's like, some people are giving me hate. Like, I know you can see the address, but it's public record what the address is and stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe the family doesn't know yet. It's
not
like,
your live update. Like, my God.
Like, it'd be one thing if it's like, oh, this house caught on fire. Look at how big it got. You don't have to give all your speculations about it.
That's like, just awful. I don't know. I just think
it's just like, is someone recording me as I'm like,
I know,
wearing something, doing something?
I think about that all the time. Well, not all the time, but like sometimes I'll think about it and it freaks me out. I'm just like, okay, am I doing something stupid? Is somebody filming me?
I know. Am I gonna get like in trouble for doing this thing that I didn't even know you could get in trouble for?
Or like am I out there on TikTok that I don't even realize, and someone's got their like voiceover like saying how horrible I am?
Literally.
Like, I don't know. It's just weird.
And like, people are, and I think some people maybe deserve, it's like any time something happens, somebody's like pulling out their phone, and then people are like getting fired. Like, people are finding where these people work, getting them fired, and some people probably deserve it, I guess. But it's just wild to think that like someone can pull out their phone and show them one perspective of what's happening.
I know. Or even I saw I don't know the whole situation, was something in like a baseball game or something, and this woman was like trying to get these seats from somebody else, and it was weird. But like, obviously the person that was being like attacked verbally by this woman was filming, because it was all on film. And then all of a sudden the woman like whips out her phone, and now the one that's like doing the attacking is now also filming, and it's like, what is going on?
I know. And it's like, some stuff like that is good for proof, I guess, but at the same time, I'm not pulling out my phone and recording people unless they're like trying to beat me. And you never have the whole story. No. That's the thing. You have the part where it's escalating.
And it's one thing if you're having it for proof so you can show the police or whoever and be like, look, this is what happened.
Right.
But then if you're just going to use it to post on social media, I don't get why that's helpful.
No.
Or like just everything with the mom and the soup. It's like, okay, like, what is the point of you posting that? Like, it's just, you're looking kind of for attention to be like, oh, this horrible thing happened to my kid. It's like, but why? Like, why do you think that all these millions of people need to know about this?
Yeah, or like, even some of the stuff, I do see that a lot with like parents. It's like, this is how my child, passed away. And it's like some freak thing. Okay, yes, you can post like awareness about that to help other people. But I mean, then they're showing the child that, has ended up passing away in a bed, like, passing away.
Right.
And you're putting that just online. And it's just, I can't, like tell your story. Yeah, it's like, tell your story. Don't put I just can't imagine doing that.
I can't either. I mean, and I know the two of us aren't the best at taking photos of things anyway, but like, it would never be my reflex to whip out my phone and record something, especially during like a traumatic event. Or I never in a million years, like, if something horrible happened to me, I wouldn't be like, okay, let me go live on TikTok and tell everybody. Like, I can't fathom that.
I know. I don't know if people need like this validation or what, but
right. I mean, unless, I know that some people, it's their job to be like, they're a vlogger, they're the influencer, and that's a little bit different, but I still think there should be like some boundaries. And it's just bizarre to me when like normal people are just like documenting their life.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
It is wild. We're in a different time, man.
Yeah, we really are. Like, it totally is Black Mirror. Like, they predicted this.
I know. I saw, just switching gears here, but I saw Chrissy Teigen had like another baby.
Oh yeah,
through
the surrogate.
That whole story was kind of like wild.
Yeah, it kind of was.
The way she's like, so she was pregnant, and then they still wanted to use the embryos still, so they put them in another woman, like a surrogate. And then the babies were born like just a couple months in between each other. And she's like, we were pregnant together. We really wanted her to be part of our family too. And I was like, it's wild.
It's like so crazy, like, to be like a celebrity surrogate.
I
like,
know.
I mean, you get like no notoriety for that, but just the fact that like you can be brought into the fold of the family.
I always thought that when like remember when like Kim and Kanye did it? I'm like, can you imagine having Kim Kardashian's baby in your
honestly
belly?
think I would have so much anxiety.
I know, especially with like them, or even like Chrissy Teigen. Obviously, she was very welcoming to this woman, but it was like, I have your baby.
I know, like,
what
it is up to me to grow this child.
No, because didn't she say too, they had a surrogate and then there was a miscarriage, and then so they put a baby in her, and then they still wanted to do
with Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah,
I think I heard
like that.
And then because she had also had a miscarriage, like before. Was it before this one or before? Yeah, it was because the one that she gave birth to would have been their third.
Yeah.
So it was right before that one that she had the miscarriage. Well, I don't know. Still born. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for them, but I'm still not really a Chrissy Teigen fan after
Mega Bully.
Yeah. Which is a shame because I used to like love her.
I know.
But, I had that Cravings cookbook and everything.
Well, she was funny.
Yeah,
and then when you actually thought about the stuff she was saying, and then the other stuff she was doing.
Some of the stuff that resurfaced, you're like, oh,
it was bad.
Okay, it wasn't very nice. But I mean, I think they have a cute little family. And
they do, and I'm sure she's a good mom.
Yeah.
Everything.
What do you think about, how her mom lives with them? Like, what do you think about that? Just because you're a mother too, and like, what if you're like your mom or your mother-in-law were like,
live with us?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if I had a mega mansion and she could have her own wing, I guess that'd be fine. I mean, I guess if you probably already have like your staff and stuff in there all the time, what's another person? But I think like, if it was this life, I'm not a celebrity, I don't know if I'd want that.
For a normal person, yeah. And I do think...
I mean, if there was a situation where she needed to live there, that'd be fine.
Right, if she needed to.
Right.
I think it's weird, too, like, so is her mom separated from her dad?
I don't really know. Or is her dad alive?
No, he is. I mean, unless something changed in the past few years that I didn't hear about, like, he was alive, like when I followed her and stuff, but she was like, the mother was like fully living with them, so I couldn't tell if like they were together or not.
I don't know,
because I mean that's kind of an interesting dynamic.
I know. Well, that's the thing too. I feel like Chrissy could buy her family like a house close by,
right next door.
Yeah. Like their own thing. I don't know. Maybe he lives in that house and she just stays and helps with the kids.
I don't know.
I did see that they were in the Barbie house.
Oh, were they?
It seems like they must be doing some kind of like a PR thing, not just them, but like the Barbie, because then I saw like Dixie D'Amelio was there. It's like everybody's going. I'm like, how do they have time? And then are they like supposed to post all differently?
Probably.
Or are they all literally just going to take pictures?
I mean, they're hitting the PR for Barbie hard.
They sure are, man. I mean, Margot's been everywhere.
Margot is contractually obligated to only wear pink,
literally.
Like
and
until
she looks fabulous.
At least 2 weeks after the movie's out.
I love how she's just like, yep, I'm Barbie. Like, I'm just kind of loving it. I'm like, oh my gosh. And that one with the black and white stripes that looks like that bathing suit. I was like, oh, I love that.
She is so cute. Like, she's the perfect little cast.
I'm excited to go see it.
I know. And at first, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be like kind of dumb. But then the more that came out about it.
Like, maybe it'll be fun. And it could still be dumb. I don't know.
But I think it'll be just like a cute.
Fun.
Yeah.
I know. I'm really interested to see what they're actually like going to do with this movie. Because remember, Amy Schumer was going to be in it way back in the day, but they couldn't agree on something.
But then didn't something change with the writing of it or something? Didn't Amy just say that?
I don't remember.
I think she said that on Watch What Happens Live, where she's like, I was going to be a part of it, but it was like she didn't agree with just something about how it was written from like not a really like female
something.
Yeah, something. But then Greta, what's her last name? Gerwig,
yeah.
She took over and changed stuff and made it more like feminine or feminism based.
Yeah, so we'll see. So that makes me think it's supposed to be like pretty funny then.
Yeah, I think it'll be funny.
And then I saw where they were like, I don't know if I saw it on YouTube or TikTok or something, but they were talking about how they were picking all the pinks for the Barbie dream house
and they ran out of the paint. Yeah.
And they're like, this is our white. And it was just light pink. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love it.
Did you see, because that Oppenheimer movie's coming out on the same day, and they're like, okay, like, what's the order? Who should we see first? And then they're like, Oppenheimer is not doing the same PR. And then they're like, okay, what are they supposed to do? Like, explode a building? Like, it's not really the same type of movie. They can't do the same type of PR circuit as the Barbie movie. Yeah, I think it'll be funny. I think it'll be funny. I'm
excited to see it.
Ryan Gosling.
I know. I think I've known people are kind of like ragging on him like he's too old and stuff, but I think he's going to do good.
I think he will too. And I mean, I just think that's kind of the point of it.
Right.
Like, I think it was just like, and also Ken really is a background character.
He is.
I think so. I don't think it was meant to actually be like, he's the main forefront.
Right.
Like, I think it was meant. I think they cast him for a reason.
I know. I think he's going to do good. People are and even though the hair and stuff looks crazy, like he literally looks like my Ken doll.
I know.
Like, I'm sorry, but he did.
He didn't have that like platinum blonde and super, super tan. Like when he's been doing the press stuff where it's like that dirty blonde, like he looks great.
He does look great.
I mean, when does he not? Honestly?
And he's so funny, and he seems like he's so excited to be in it. He's like, yeah, I play with my Barbies with my daughters, and it's so cute.
I think it's cute. I saw a thing where he's like, like Ken is technically homeless. Ken doesn't have a dream house.
No.
And then he's like, Ken doesn't have a form of transportation. So I just think he has such a funny personality.
He does.
Like
I feel like he's like, I am Ken. Like method acting. Like, what would Ken do? He's like doing research.
He's leaned in fully. Well, should we take a little break before we start?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're back. And I thought it would be fun to talk about some paranormal stories because I actually have a couple.
Yeah, I only have like one and it didn't even really happen to me. So you're going to have more to say about this. No. I'm excited to hear yours.
I know. I do have a couple. Should I just get into it? Well, do you believe in like ghosts and paranormal
I do.
stuff?
I do.
I know. I think I do too. I mean, I have these experiences here, but it's just so like confusing.
I know
about what is actually happening.
I mean, I think that a lot of the stories that are out there are kind of dramatized and aren't
Right.
really real. But for the most part, like, yeah, I believe in like
ghosts
ghost sightings, and I don't necessarily believe, when they used to have that ghost hunter show, and it was like that was staged and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I do believe in sightings or like paranormal experiences.
I know. And it seems like so many people have like had some kind of something that it's just weird that we would all have these like.
And why would we not? Like, I feel that it seems natural that we would have some type of
glitch.
Yeah, or like someone from the dead trying to communicate. So, yeah. All right. What's your first one?
Should I start?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start with my one about my cat.
Oh, okay.
So, I can't remember if I've told you all the stories about the cat, but so I had a cat that passed away around Christmas time. It was like 2 days before, not this year.
Maybe
years
like
ago? It might even be longer. I feel like maybe 3 years ago, because I already had my first child.
Yeah, you did.
So it was right before COVID then, I think.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think you were pregnant. So,
no.
Yeah.
I had already had Ben, and he was not quite a year old yet. So, anywho, so our cat passed away, and okay, so if you have cats, they like to knock cups down and like knock things over. And the one time we're like in bed, it's quiet, and we just hear a cup like get smacked and like bounce onto the floor, and we're like, that was kind of weird. I mean, of course this could be like explained by it just fell over,
right?
Because we had like dishes and stuff on the counter. But then this one time I'm like sitting there, and we have like a banister, which maybe you saw in the last video, and we had stuff on there, and one of the things we had on there was her like death certificate.
Yeah.
Well, and then we had, of course, all this other stuff like toys and everything. And you like see, it's like literally a gust of wind, but it's like the way a cat would like bounce. It was like bounce, bounce, and then this death certificate literally floats up and goes over the railing. Like, so weird. But it literally was like the motion of a cat.
That
like
is crazy.
Bouncing around. And then I have one more with the cat. So this was this year, literally the day of her anniversary of her death. I go into the bathroom, and because my son was like potty training, so we have like the kid potty and stuff, but then we have like the cleaners and paper towel and just random stuff on top of the sink.
Yeah.
And then there's like a basket of his bath toys like on top of the toilet back. And I walk into the bathroom, everything is knocked into the sink, and the toys are knocked over too. And like, it could have been the dog, but my one dog couldn't do it because he's too small. Yeah. And my other dog has never done that before.
She wouldn't do that.
It was just so weird. And if it would have been my son like in there, you would have heard him rustling around. And it was just so weird that it was like the anniversary of her death.
She wants you to know.
I know she's still there. I know she like popped back up, but definitely the one with the jumping.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That one was like, Isla was there. Her name was Isla.
Did you just witness that, or did your husband?
My mom was sitting there when it also happened. So it wasn't just me. It was literally like, I can't even explain. It was just like a gust of wind. The way she would move. Yeah. Because she was kind of just a little feisty girl. Yeah, she was like really playful and like crazy. So.
Yeah, I believe those for sure.
I know. I'm like, it was the ghost cat. My son, I'll tell some stories about my son. Yeah, he's had a couple of
kids.
My mom had a dog that passed away, and her name was Coco. Not that it matters. And he was really close with her because she was so good with him and just loved on him when my dogs weren't the biggest fan. But anyway, after she had passed away, he would be like, Coco comes to my room at night. And so I mean, and he could be just like dreaming about her, obviously, but
even if it's in a dream, isn't it?
It's still kind of weird, especially because he was like able to like articulate. Because that was even maybe 2 years ago, so he would have been like young, 2.
Yeah,
and was like, Coco comes to my in my dreams at night, or like, I mean, into my room at night. It's like, what?
It's less creepy when it's like an
Animal, I know.
than a person.
Well, I've got a really freaking spooky one that my son said. We were driving. There's like a river in our hometown, and we're driving past it, and my son goes, 3 boys died in the river. Just flat out goes, 3 boys died in the river. I was like, don't say that or whatever. And I started thinking about it, and that is true.
Yeah, wasn't that an old story? Yeah.
Well, it was probably like more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And 3 boys was like, I mean, I guess I won't go into detail about it, but yeah, that like literally happened. And I'm like, how would he know
Did
that?
he just like, when you were drooling over it, like he got like a feeling?
I know, right? Like, who told him that? Like, what?
Yeah. Who would have told him? Nobody.
I know. It was just so weird. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, that one freaked me out. I was like, what? I thought that one was really spooky.
It's so weird. Like, kids, like they always say that in the scary movies and stuff, but like they really do. And like animals too, like they just have a weird connection to the other side.
They do, and you wonder if like when we were little, if we like
said anything,
said stuff like that. And it's hard too with kids because they will just say like weird
random things.
But that one was so specific, and the fact that he said 3,
yeah, that is weird.
That blew my mind.
Well, just the fact that he said it at all, like why would he say that?
No, and he does sometimes, like if we pass a cemetery, he'll be like, what's that? And it's like, okay, that's where people, when you pass away, that's where we put them or whatever.
But like 3 boys died in the river.
I was like, huh? You just wonder, like, did he just acquire the knowledge, like they put it in him? Like, I just like don't. Did he see them? Like, how did he understand that they were? And it's not like we were playing down there, or else I would have probably just like passed out in fear. Like we're driving away from the river, and where he said it isn't where it happened.
Yeah,
but it was still weird that we're like by this river.
That is weird.
That one spooked me out. But I've also had some things at work happen.
Really?
This was like a couple-ish years ago. I work in like a lab, so we have heavy lab doors, and they have very distinct sound. And especially because there's like these vents and everything. And I would constantly be hearing doors shutting, like just like that weird distinct noise all the time. And you just kind of like blow it off, like it's annoying and weird. But this one time I was like back in this like certain part of the lab, and something went in my ear and was just like, Hannah, so loud, like enough that I like moved over.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was so loud, and it was like more of a masculine voice. And it was the loudest thing ever. Because have you ever heard just like somebody say your name?
Yeah.
Or, like you think so? This was right in my ear. So loud.
But no one was around.
No, nobody could be back in there because of where I was. Like you have to be garbed up and everything. So then, but we had some weird stuff happening. The one day, the one person that I work with brought in sage and like was like running around, and I was like kind of against it. I'm like, you're mocking everything.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing it right. But since she saged, I have not had any issues. No doors shutting.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing. I'm like, did it work?
So did something happen in that building, or like?
We don't know. I always say it was like great grandpa, whoever the owner is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like
that is kind of creepy.
It was creepy, man. And the fact that like everybody was like just weird stuff was kept happening. Yeah. After we saged, it was gone. Yeah, that in my voice, like in my ear, I mean, was so loud, and like I've never had that happen before.
That's creepy. That would have freaked me out.
It did. I was like, oh my gosh.
Did you just stay back there? Yeah. I would have had to like go and be with somebody else.
A couple years ago. I know. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going back there anymore. But no, I don't know. I feel like when that stuff happens, you just kind of like, okay, it happened.
Well,
like
it's
you walk away.
And also you just think people aren't going to believe you. So you're like, okay, do I tell somebody? They're gonna think I'm being stupid.
I know.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are skeptical.
Yeah. Yeah.
About this kind of stuff. And like, I don't know if I'd necessarily believe somebody too if they were like, somebody just like shouted in my ear. And it's like, but no, like it happened.
I know. Yeah, that's weird.
It was weird.
I've never had anything really happen to me. I mean, the one thing, this was just me being delusional, I think, but like, it was weird at night the one time. Like, I was awake. I like couldn't sleep.
Was it in your apartment or something?
It was here, yeah. And I was just in my room, and I'm like laying in bed, and I have a fan like above my bed, and I swore that there was this huge bug like flying around, and I'm like, oh my God, I see it. Like, I'm terrified. Right. It's up at the fan. Like, this is, I am so scared right now. And then I like finally got the nerve to like turn on the light, and nothing was there. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I had to turn it off again. I'm like, no, it's there. Like, I think I was actually just like being completely delusional.
But you do like, I mean.
But like, why was that happening? And like, the one part that was actually creepy, when I am like, I internalize my like stress and anxiety. So sometimes it'll come out in anxiety dreams.
Right.
So I've had dreams before where I've like fully gotten up out of bed and like been looking for something or doing something. Right. And then I like wake up as I'm like, or I come to as I'm like in another room, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this, right. Ailish, you're not in, like, that is a dream. Like, right. It's not like I'm sleepwalking. It's just. But this time it was weird because there was a birthday party that was happening like next door with my old neighbors. And like, I had my windows open earlier in the day, and I like closed them. But in my like weird vision, this window was open in my bathroom, and this balloon from next door came in. It floated, like I watched it float into my room. Like, I was fully awake at this point. It like came over by my bed, and then it turned around and floated back out of my room.
It's
and like
Pennywise.
Yeah, and like into my hallway and into my living room, and I like followed the balloon.
Wait, you were awake?
Yes, I was awake. This is why I'm like having crazy delusions. Like, I don't know what was going on at this time, because I don't really think that's like a ghost, but it was just so weird.
Well, I mean, definitely take this story with a grain of salt. But when I was in the hospital having my first child, and I was really drugged before. Yeah. And like in excruciating pain from contractions and like, on drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
But I saw a old-timey nurse float across the room, like fully float across, and then just like stayed staring at the wall.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of similar to that.
I would kind of believe that in the hospital.
I know, that's true. Because there could be an old-timey nurse still haunting the halls. But yeah, it was just it fully like floated across, and you're just like.
You're like, can I have some ice
chips, please? Right.
No, it's just like that kind of stuff is weird, because like I was not sleepwalking, I was not dreaming, I was awake and watching this happen, and that's why it was like a full-on delusion. But like, I fully got out of bed and followed this balloon, and then when I like turned the corner and I like looked in my living room for the balloon, and it wasn't there, and I'm like, oh. That was really weird.
Or it could have been like a sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I've had that one time, but I don't know. I guess I don't really understand sleep paralysis. Just that it's like holding you down, and like.
Right.
I was like, when I was still living at home, I was like probably in high school, honestly. And there was like this demon girl freaking in my closet. Oh. But it's like weird because you're like. See everything the way it is.
I know.
In this weird, like, how would you? So your eyes must be fully open,
right?
And she was just like in there, and I was trying to tell her to go away, but my mouth wouldn't open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like that sleep paralysis. But it's interesting that you can like do that. Like, your mind can, like, see everything how it is.
I know. So those are and I don't even think that was really like paranormal. It was just something weird with my mind, or maybe it was, I don't know. But the one thing that happened to my aunt, it was so my family like lives, half my family is in Ireland, like I had said before. So my aunt was staying at, and I can't remember like the full details. I should have asked my dad before, but it was like she was staying at my Nana's house, I believe, and she was like in bed, and then it was a relative, like I can't remember if it was like her like grandparent, like she saw them come into the room and they like sat on her bed and like touched her bed.
Oh my gosh.
And she like fully saw this. And my aunt, she like is totally into like the ghosties and the fairies and all that stuff.
We'll
but
have
she
to have her
fully
on
witnessed
the
it.
podcast.
Well, if they come over here,
she can tell us our spooky story.
But yeah, like that was the only thing where she's like, no, I 100%, like she came into the room, like she fully saw it. And I will, like, I don't know, they always say this stuff in like, you know, like Ireland too, or like there's just different little folk tales, and
the urban legends,
and like was this other house back there that we speculate that it's haunted because it's just, but I feel like a lot of times, like, you know, you always hear the stories where it's like, oh, from, you know, Britain in 1742, like this horrible thing happened. And like in Ireland,
tuberculosis.
You know, they had like the whole potato famine. And there was a lot of like strife and hardships, or just like some homes are just like fully abandoned. Or like the old, like really old, like ancient block homes that are just like dilapidated. And yet you have to wonder, like, is there a spirit that's like hasn't found its resting
I know
place?
You do gotta this is gonna get a little out there, but I was deep on the TikTok stuff, and this woman was like a medium of some sort and was talking about the submersible people, and was talking about like, okay, these ones all went to like the afterlife, but this guy, it was the PH guy, who was that big Titanic explorer. She's like, he is still like down there exploring and stuff, and doesn't realize that they've passed away.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, of course, you know,
this could
be anything, but it is interesting to think about, like, what if that, and like in his final moments, that he's like still exploring. I was like, it's interesting. It's like, why?
Like, remember that show? What was his name? Like the Tyler Henry. Wasn't he the medium?
Oh, yeah.
I just feel, I know that some people think, oh, that's all just a crock. Like, there's no way. But I seriously just think there are some people who do have some sort of connection. I mean, because I know that was a show, but like the reason why he even got a show is because he gained popularity, like where he lived and stuff. It's like, how can you not know anything about somebody? And then all of a sudden, like, pull out all these random, very specific family facts or features or whatever. Like, I just feel like there's no way.
I know. It's like there could be some people that can really, like, are tapping into something. That is, I'm sure there's obviously, like, fakes. It's like, I could be like, I'm sensing great grandma or something, and you're like, yeah, I had a great grandma, you know. Or like me and my mom were talking about it, and she's like, you know, if somebody was like to me, because to her, I'm 50, it's like, yeah, I probably don't have a grandma anymore. So you could like feed off of something where if they were guessing me, it's like, yeah, you probably have like a grandma that's still alive and stuff like that. But I do feel like some things are so, like you said, specific, and that they could be getting this like information and being able to, like, even if they're not like talking to somebody, they're able to feel the energy of something.
Because I fully believe in energies.
Yes.
100%. And I mean, I know that might be kind of something that not everybody believes
well, I
in
mean,
either.
Even
but
if you think about, you walk into a room, you can feel tension.
Yes.
That's like energy.
Right.
So why wouldn't you be able to feel that from something
or like
else?
Yeah, and maybe some people can't feel that. I don't know. But I mean, you can feel like when somebody is with you and they like have horrible anxiety. Like you can
Yes.
literally feel it, or like you can just feel negative
Yes.
energy. So like I think that maybe there's people who can feel energies in the afterlife.
Right.
And I do think that people who have passed on, like, I don't know, I would like to think that they can kind of communicate with somebody, or that they would want to.
Or even if there's some like unresolved something, like maybe not everybody can. Because I mean, I think with like ghosts and stuff, it's hard to be like, oh, it's just dead people.
Yeah.
Because why aren't there ghosts everywhere?
Right.
Like, so some of them move on, some of them don't. And that part's kind of like confusing.
I know. I don't believe in like the paranormal activity, like movies and like all that kind of stuff. I don't believe that there's like demons that just are out here to like torture us from the afterlife. Like I don't think that that's
right. That definitely
true.
feels like a over exaggerated version of like a horror, like in the horror movies and stuff, where they're good fun. But I don't think that people are having experiences like that. Like maybe they're hearing things slam,
right?
But I don't know. Maybe cupboards are opening and things flying out of them. I don't know.
But I don't think that there's like a freaking like ghost that's there to murder people. You know,
like drag them down the steps.
I don't believe
I don't know, but then some people still I mean, I don't think it's like that, but then people are like, no, I felt something like hit my hair, or like
I
knocked
believe
me down.
that, or like, you know, the breeze that you might feel, or whatever. But I
the cat.
but I don't feel that they're like dragging you down the stairs to torture you, or like throwing knives so that it stabs you. Like I don't believe in that kind of stuff.
That definitely seems over exaggerated.
I think most spirits are more peaceful spirits.
Or they're like trying to get your attention,
right, for something.
But
sorry. I was just gonna say something that I wanted to do and I regret that I didn't do it.
What?
I think I told you about this before, but it would have been a long time ago. When I was in New York on an internship, this was like the first or second time that I was there for internship. There was this dinner that you could have with a medium.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember how much it was. It was like a decent amount of money, so that's why we were like, we're not getting paid. Like we can't do that. But I wish that I would have done it so bad. And like we should go to New York and find that experience and do it, because it would just be so interesting. Like I feel that we would be able to go in where we would want this to be true, but we'd also be like, no, I'm not going to give away stuff because I want to see if this is legit.
I know, I was thinking that too. It's like, what if you kind of like fed into them yourself? Like, oh yeah, I do have an uncle, Harry. Yeah. You know? It would be interesting even to see what they just say.
I know.
But again, it's interesting to think too, like just from a skeptical side, it's like, are these people just like, they can read people very well, and then they can see by your body language, like, are you doing that? So it would be interesting to like actually experience somebody and see like, or like trying a couple of them, like, well, that guy was hokey, but this person might have been somebody.
Just try a bunch and review.
Me and my husband a couple years ago went to the Mansfield Reformatory in Ohio.
I've never been, so we need to go.
We should go. I would totally go again. I don't know if they still do this, but you can do like this nighttime free roam. It's from like, I thought it was like 1 a.m. to like 4 or something. Yeah. And you just like get to run around. And there's other people there, so I don't know how it is. But they also do just like these night tours.
Yeah.
And that we did that, and it was, I mean, there was I have 2 like major spooky spooks.
Did you do the free roam, or did you just...
No, we did the
regular
guided
tour. Okay.
And then actually got everything mixed up and we were there in the morning. So we actually got to see everything just because the Shawshank Redemption, some of the stuff was filmed there. So we kind of got to tour that on our own. And then we like went and got dinner. And then we went to this like ghost tour and you get like a flashlight and everything. And this is the first time I've ever done like a purposely trying to look for ghost thing. But, okay, so 2 of the things that were pretty spooky. There is a cell that a guy unalived himself by setting himself on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Now, this part is going to be hard to believe, okay? When we were looking through, there was like this dad and this son that we were kind of like hanging around. You know how like sometimes in those group settings, you just like
find
pick
buddies
people and you just like follow them around. He is looking through his phone. This is the only way we could see that. We're looking through his phone. And when we could see the bars, because when you do this tour, it's dark. Like you just have, like I said, the flashlights. There's like no lights. And the bars looked like they were hot, like hot iron.
Oh my
like
God.
That red and like oranginess,
Yeah.
but you could only like see it through his phone. And he's like, look at this. And then we're like looking, like, why is that doing that? And then my husband's like, oh, that's just from the windows, you know, totally different shape. But like the bars are going down. The windows were this way, you know, like squares. It was not the I remember being like, that was not the windows. That was like burnt iron. It was and we were like back from the group and everything. It was so spooky. Then there's this part, like, you go down in, like, solitary confinement, and a guard was allegedly, like, murdered down there. It was me and my husband and this group of 3 ladies. We are looking down the end of the hallway, and there is a full-on apparition, like...
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying it looked like a guard. And it was, like, staring down at us. Like, and I'm, like, all of us saw it. I wish I could find these people so they could validate me. And it was, like, looking down at us. And then it walked away.
Oh, my gosh.
It was we were like, holy crap. But again, it was, like, you see it, but you don't really, like, fully process it, I guess. But there was one other spot where we were, like, all in the dark. He's like, everybody just we had that awesome, like, tour guide. He's like, just be quiet. And I don't know how to explain it, but there was something in one of the cells that felt really angry. Like, I don't know.
Could you hear it? Or
we could hear, like, a little, like, I can't really explain what you could hear, but you could feel anger. Like, it was so spooky, but I would so do that again.
Yeah, we need to go because I've always wanted to go to it.
And
for some reason, I just never have.
I know. That was the only time I've ever been. And then, like, obviously in Halloween, they'll do, like, the jump out spooks. Like a haunted house thing,
I would do that, but I want to go just like
do the tour.
Raw.
Yeah, and they it was cool to see during the day too, just like this is where this alleged like black figure will like be seen and everything.
Yeah.
But it's just like this. So when I think about that, it's like all this dark energy. Like the cells were too small. They were like unaliving themselves, getting whipped and stuff. So it's like
that's it. There's unrest.
Yes. So you wonder if that's just like leftover energy still there, or if it really is like these spirits that can't escape this horrible thing that happened to them.
I think it's the spirits.
I know. They're trapped.
I went and toured Alcatraz when I lived in San Francisco, and I don't know if they do night tours, but this wasn't at nighttime. I know. I think that there would be some amazing...
Dark.
Yeah, I mean, that place was so crazy. I mean, obviously everybody knows about Alcatraz, but like, I didn't realize that like the guards and their families also lived over there.
That was the same thing they said at the like Mansfield Reformatory, and I didn't know that either.
So that I think is like crazy, and like weird things probably happened with that, or like if those people were still alive, I bet they would have like crazy stories to tell. But like there were some. It was really cool, and I think a lot of places probably do this now, but, like, you were on a self-guided tour with audio, so we all had headphones on, and then it told us exactly where to walk, and then as we were going through, like, it would, you know, the audio would tell us about whatever the story was. So all of us were kind of, like, walking around at different times on our own pace. But like they told some crazy stories about when they just had like where the prisoners took over the jail, and you know how like there's just would be so much unrest with the prisoners there, and just like resentment too, because the one thing, which this isn't like creepy, but it's just sad, which makes me just feel like that unrest and that anger. But like they would say to the prisoners when it was New Year's, like that they could listen and hear the celebrations happening at the city. So it's like they're so close but so far, and they're living in like this hellish environment, but like they're just so close to civilization, and I feel like that would have just caused so much anger and
sadness. I know it is crazy to think about the way like not to get into a prison reform thing, but even back then it's like the way they treated them in prison was just like crazy.
I know.
And, I mean, even just back in the day, the way we treated people
in general, awful. I know, it's terrible.
And you do think like too, like even if you go to like, I've been to Salem, but I never got to do a ghost tour. But anyway, you just like can feel that just awfulness.
We didn't even talk about stuff with like Indian burial grounds.
Right.
Like that's like similar too. Like they always say like when things are that's on an Indian burial ground.
Right.
Like because that's kind of the same, well not the same like timeline, but the same kind of vibe.
And they like curse the ground. Yeah. So then you wonder like is my work built on?
Right.
And It is interesting to like think about all that stuff. Do you remember when we went to the Carousel Museum?
Oh my God, yes.
And there was like allegedly this horse that if you just tried to develop a picture of it, you couldn't. I can't even remember the backstory, but it was like haunted by a kid or something.
Yeah, I can't remember the backstory either.
But I remember we like had our crappy phones. So we're like trying to we have to, but I don't think we ever tried to like.
But I can't remember if we tried to develop the picture, but I remember we like couldn't get a good picture of it. Don't you remember?
Because it was like something like that.
Yeah, like it wouldn't work. Like something about it was like we were annoyed because we couldn't get a good picture.
We're like, no, we want to. So it is interesting. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, oh yeah, it is like kind of fun to like try to go find something.
I know it is fun.
And I'd love to do it again. I went to this like, I think, did you go to it too? Like a ghost tour in our hometown.
Yeah.
For, like the underground thing.
At the jail. Yeah, I did that.
We did that too, and nothing happened.
No. I mean, that was an interesting tour though.
Those are really cool tours just to like, it's just a cool part of history that's still like spooky. Yeah. So it makes it extra fun.
I know. Yeah.
My mom has tried those like, I guess you'd say urban legend things where it's like the headless motorcycle man where you like flick your lights on 5 times or something. She says it works. So
really?
Maybe we should try.
Or like remember you'd be like Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Yeah, the mirror and everything.
Oh my God, remember, this isn't a ghost story, but remember that one Lil Wayne song where if you played it backwards?
Oh my gosh, remember all that stuff? If you play this song backwards, it summons like a demon or it says kill, murder, kill. Right. And we like pulled up this video and it was like freaking The Ring or The Grudge and we're like,
yeah, and it was playing, well, allegedly playing
this song backwards. No, me either.
But it was playing it backwards, and it sounded so creepy.
I was like,
it was horrible. We were at like my dad's house, and we were in high school at this point.
Like being all spooky middle
by ourselves. We slammed the laptop, ran out, and went for a walk.
And to like convince ourselves, like, oh no, like I'm sure it wasn't.
That was so creepy.
It was like that was spooky. I that was like when you would look on YouTube at paranormal videos all the time, and they were allegedly real, and you would just like spook yourself.
Yeah, you just freak yourself out.
Like never mind.
I went through a time where like I don't know why I was so freaked out about stuff, but like when I was fully in high school, I could drive myself to school, but in the morning, like my dad would be gone to work, so I'd be at home by myself, and I would like call him and be like, terrified. I'd be like, I see these orbs, like I see them, and he'd be like, Ailish, like you are fine. And I don't know why, like what? Maybe I was sensing something.
I know. Well, you have to wonder. I know. I used to spook myself out really bad. I have like one other story. I just remember why our power used to go out all the time where we lived. Like, I mean, it would have to barely storm and our power was going out. It was so ridiculous. But anyway, I was home alone, power goes out, and I hear the phone ringing in the basement. So I like run to go get it, like, you know, like a kid does.
Yeah.
And I get to the top of the stairs and it stopped ringing. And it was like, what? And then I'm like, wait, the power's out. And this is like way back in the day, kids, where you had landlines. Yeah. And that one was just so weird because we did have a phone down there, but it's just like, I feel like I get so spooked when I was in high school and middle school. It was like everything spooked me out.
I know. Well, I used to think that like horrible things were going to happen to me. Like I was so terrified for some reason. I have no idea why. I went through this weird phase when I was like 15 years old, but I had to have like a note card of like emergency, again, like no cell phone, like I had to have them written out.
It was a different time then.
Yeah, and I would be like, you know, the 911 wasn't good enough. Like I needed the number for fire, and then I needed our neighbor's number. Like it had to be on this note card, and if it wasn't like standing up right against my lamp, like I could not even function. Like I don't know why. I
know. I used to do that with tornadoes. I would like have this storm bag I would pack anytime we were getting storms. Ridiculous. But I know it's like weird, like why I just was so spooked.
Oh, you know what then. I just remembered? Oh, no. So when I think we mentioned before when we watched like The Ring and The Grudge and stuff. And I remember it was shortly after we watched that, and we were in elementary school. And I don't know, we would have been like 7th or 8th grade. I can't remember. But we were in our science classroom. Okay. Do you remember this?
I don't know.
And like something weird happened with this experiment, or we were cleaning something, and there was like black like hair all in the sink.
Oh, I do remember that.
And we're like flipped out, and we're like, no, we can't have anything to do with this. Like we were so scared.
Like her hair. I used to think that after we watched that movie that I was just gonna see the hair coming on of stuff, and then it freaking happened.
I know.
That's school though.
Oh yeah, haunted. I think that's school.
Well, weren't we? I mean, this is probably an urban legend, but when they were building the upstairs, somebody passed away.
Yeah, someone died. Yeah, I remember hearing that.
I mean, that could have been fake, but remember there was like, do you remember in like grade school, there was like the ghost rumor that there was like a ghost down in the bathroom or something. I can't remember exactly what it was,
because that school was built a long time ago.
Yes, and they would just like let you go down in the basement by yourself. That's where the bathrooms were, and nobody was down there. No, you would just go down there by yourself.
And I remember being kind of scared when I was younger, like running to the stairs, like past the preschool room to get up the stairs, and then
it would be like you'd hear a toilet flush or something, which was probably a kid in there, maybe, but it was like, and there was like in the girls' bathroom, it was like a front row stall, and then you could go around.
It was a huge bathroom.
It really was.
Yeah,
and like you would hear stuff like on the other side, but you would never go over there unless like you were with a group of people.
Yeah, it was scary. Or like also the whole like mechanical room was down there too, so sometimes there would just be like weird banging noises, and the heater and stuff. Yeah, that school definitely
was a little spooky.
And even like going through, because I remember, you know, our one friend's mom was a teacher. Yes. So like sometimes we would be there after school when everybody else
was gone. Or like earlier.
Yeah. And just like walking around like felt weird.
It did. Especially because it does feel like there's a lot of schools and stuff that are like haunted.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It would be fun to go back and
it would and just like run around. We could do a seance. Just kidding. No.
No, we can't do that. That's too far. Yeah, it would be interesting. Or like, you know how remember where the school store used to be
Mm-hmm.
in that weird little office? I don't know if that used to be like where the principal was or
where it was
why
like
it was
up
even.
this couple of steps, but it wasn't really like a full upstairs
It wasn't like
thing.
it wasn't a full floor. It was almost like a little attic that they made into like that. Just seemed like a creepy.
I know
little
it always
area.
felt like there was like because it had that like blurry window
Yeah,
type thing,
it
and
wasn't
you see
clear.
like shadows. It felt like, but you probably weren't seeing shadows.
No,
but
you never know. Yeah.
My grandpa used to work for a sheriff's department, and he has a couple of spooky stories, but I wish I would have asked him what they were.
I know. We'll have to do a part 2.
I know. I remember like a couple years ago, like Corpse Husband would like read all those Reddit stories, and some of them would be the like law enforcement ones, but then there was the really big one that was the park ranger stories where they would talk about all these like crazy bizarre like missing people, and then they'd find their bodies like far away, or like these kids that would be like missing for weeks and they'd come back and they'd be like, oh yeah, like the hairy man helped me, and like they're still alive, like, and they're like like full and had been fed.
Well, I have listened to the podcast Park Predators before, so I've like know all really weird stories about like murders and horrible things that happen in parks. But like there are for sure people that live in these big national parks, like without a doubt.
I know, and I feel like they're really secretive about it. That way people like tourists will still come and use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely heard
so
like just the Reddit stories. Yeah, like all these like crazy things that are happening out in these like national parks.
Because there's such vast amounts of land that it's like, you can't really find somebody. And like you said with like kids, like if a person that's like living in the park finds like a lost kid,
and they're like
they're probably gonna help them, but like they don't want to be found. So then it does seem like this huge creepy story.
I know, it is wild.
Remember, I think we talked about this when we did the Catholic schoolgirl story, but when we did that's like our other paranormal thing, when we did our retreat to that creepy shrine, and like the energy in there was fully different, like in that church basement, and nobody else was acting like it was creepy, and it definitely was.
Like, hello. I know it. I love like that spooky Catholic aesthetic.
I know.
It's like, let's go to the Vatican and explore
alone at night.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I know. We definitely should do the Mansfield.
We should find some other ones. There used to be this website that I'm so mad I can't find, where it's like Haunted Ohio or something, and you could click each county and it'd tell you like the spooky things that have happened. Like there's like Gore Orphanage in the Vermilion area. That one would be. Have you ever read the stories on that?
No.
Where it's like the handprints on the car.
Oh wait.
We might have talked about it.
On what car though? Like, tell me that story.
It didn't happen to me. It's just
I know.
Like, it was like this car. These people went out there and like you're supposed to get like handprints of kids and stuff on your car.
Because there's this car that like drives around town, and I wonder if it's like connected to that.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I see it and I'm like, it's just recently, but it's like this white like SUV, and there's like red handprints all over it.
Ew, maybe they're like making fun of.
Yeah, I wonder if it is because of that.
I worked with somebody who said they went there and they got the handprints on their car. Ooh. But I don't know. I mean, she said it was really spooky. I can't remember because it was so many years ago when I was talking to this girl, but she said she had like a situation. And then there's like a bridge around here that you're supposed to like dangle your feet or something and like feel her fall.
Well, we were scared to do that.
No, maybe we should. But wasn't there like a body found out there?
Yeah, there was.
In the past couple years.
Yeah, there was.
So now I really don't want to
go. Now I don't want to do that. There's also that psych ward down in like by OU.
Oh, yeah. And the college, there's some colleges in Ohio that are supposed to be really haunted.
Yeah.
We'll have to.
I know, we should do a tour.
We should. Maybe this fall we can do like a couple spots.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do.
If you're interested in seeing like a vlog or something.
Yeah, or if you have any, if you guys live in Ohio and have any places.
Yeah, DM us on Instagram or anything.
Yeah.
Tell us your spooky stories.
Yeah,
We'd love to hear them.
This is kind of a longer episode, but I think it's fine. I think it's fun.
Let us know if you like it longer or if you prefer them shorter.
But I mean, everyone's a little bit different with our episodes, and just when the conversation gets flowing, I think it's fun to just let it go instead of like. But we need to talk about the book that we're gonna read. So we both have Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey. So we're gonna read that one next for book club. If you want to do that along with us, please do. That will be at the end of July that we'll do that episode. And my recommendation, so I've been watching The Bear, which I mentioned, Jeremy Allen White, which I would recommend that book or that show, but that's not what my recommendation is. It's like kind of funny because it's like I watched The Bear one time and now I'm like chef level. But I noticed that they have these like magnetic strips that like chefs will use in their homes to put their knives on instead of having like a knife block or putting them in their drawer. So I bought one and I haven't put it up on my wall yet, but I was like testing it and like it's very strong because it's magnetic and the knives are metal. But I think it's going to be super helpful because my drawer where my silverware is has just been cluttered with these knives and I'm like annoyed that they're in there because they don't belong there and then I have to put the one in a weird way or else the drawer won't close. So I would recommend that if you don't have a knife block or you don't have counter space and you just drill it and install it on your wall and then it just... they just are magnetically stuck there. So nice. And you can feel like a real chef.
I'm probably not going to get one of those because of the kids. But
yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and recommend Corpse Husband's YouTube channel. He reads those stories from Reddit, and he has a pretty awesome voice to rereading it. He doesn't really do them now, but he still has those old videos up. Like, he does like... He plays video games now, I guess you could say, but his voice is awesome. Yeah, so if you want to get all spooked up,
you can check that out. Don't forget to give us feedback, comment on our stuff. We did have one comment on our last video that, constructive criticism. We will accept all comments. So, I mean, we'd like them to be positive, but... and also just a note, like you don't have to watch the video if you don't want to.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, if you prefer just the audio, then by all means, you only have to listen to the audio. And the video is 100% optional.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. But yeah, let us know what you think of this one, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.